Welcome to your Business Miracles weekly training roundtable in service to highly sensitive entrepreneurship and leadership for today, which is Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. Our training topic for today, #VibeUp, spiritual. So before we dive into the topic for today, I wanted to take just a moment for a little bit of housekeeping, and particularly around our forum on Mighty Networks. So first and foremost, we are so grateful for Mighty Networks and that we have the opportunity to connect as a global virtual community of highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders in a way that is not on social media. Let's just all take a moment to appreciate that. That said, in my experience, one, of the fact that I have been doing this work for 20 years now, and the majority of it is virtual. My very not so funny joke over the last few years is I've been way ahead of the pandemic curve. Working at home since 2004. And I have not yet found one piece of technology that is absolutely glitch-free. So we love technology and all the ways that it serves and supports us and the way that it connects us. And we hate technology when it doesn't work for us. So let me just speak briefly to some Mighty Network issues. And I'm not really going to talk about the issues per se. What I'm going to talk about are the Mighty Network issues as a highly sensitive leader opportunity. And I'm going to invite you to write that down. Mighty Network / insert any technology opportunity as a highly sensitive leader opportunity. So first and foremost, let me share with you, just give you a reminder that, I don't know if I said it already, but I've been doing this work for 20 years. I've been serving highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders since 2010, so that's over a decade. I am a highly sensitive entrepreneur and leader myself. My team is comprised, the coach team, of also people who are highly sensitive. All to say that we work diligently as a mission, as a team, to create a comprehensive training program that takes into consideration highly sensitive people and their needs, and specifically what has not worked for myself, any members of the team, as well as feedback that we get from the community, what has not worked in other coaching and training programs. We work to create the exact opposite. That said, we have a lot of systems on the back end where we look to be able to cover every corner, every crack, cross every T, dot every I. And technology is technology. So sometimes there are going to be issues, specifically with Mighty Network, that cause us to miss a post, that cause us to not see an ask, that cause us to have a delay in a response that goes against our forum guidelines. Here's where the highly sensitive leader opportunity comes in. One, as a highly sensitive leader in training, that's you. You have the opportunity to activate assumption of positive intent. Please write that down. Assumption of positive intent. Now that phrase, that teaching, Brene Brown, researcher, author, has done a lot of work around assumption of positive intent, which basically means you take the approach that others are actually attempting to do their best. So based on everything that I just shared with you about my 20 years, my decade plus, what we do as a team, when you have an issue with Mighty Network, it is an opportunity as a highly sensitive leader to take a position of assumption of positive intent. Then it is an opportunity to take personal responsibility. Please write that down. Take personal responsibility for your own journey as a highly sensitive leader. By doing due diligence, if you haven't heard back from us on the forum, to first check your post, check the guidelines. Ooh, does this fall within when this team, who I'm assuming has my best interest in mind, has said that they would respond? Okay, yes, it does, and I haven't heard anything. Then 3, to take action and ask for support. Email membercare@businessmiracles.com, write that down, or feel free to call us at our toll-free number, although toll-free numbers don't really mean much anymore with cell plans, but I still like to say it anyway. It is a toll-free number. Email us, give us a call, let member care know, hey, I put this post on the forum, it falls within the forum guidelines, and I haven't gotten a response. And because all the due diligence that we've done and the systems that we have set up on the back end, that message will get to us as a coach team, and the exact right coach team member and or myself will respond. So assumption of positive intent, personal responsibility, take action, ask for support. In all honesty, if you put that into practice here in our community, that is safe, that is sacred, that has been designed to be in service to highly sensitive leadership, and that is all that you do, that's the only way that you use that program, this program, that is going to train a muscle for you to be able to take that out into the world. And that is going to make all the difference with how you're able to show up in your business, how you're able to show up in your relationships, and how you're able to show up in your life. So if you haven't already, take a moment to write that formula frame down. Assumption of positive intent, personal responsibility, take action, and ask for support. Take a moment, place a hand on your heart, and together let's take a breath in. Breath in and let it out. And this directly does connect to hashtag VibeUp Spiritual. Very, very briefly, our last 2 weekly training roundtables have covered hashtag VibeUp Physical and hashtag VibeUp Emotional, both available for you in your online learning center to watch for the first time if you haven't had a chance yet. And as always, valuable to return to. VibeUp Physical, business miracleizing physical movement as a way to hashtag VibeUp. Emotional, shifting out of coping and soothing and into nurture, utilizing the Business Miracles tool of the 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐬 process, all to support you in hashtag VibeUp. Why? Why are we giving this attention to VibeUp over these 3 weekly trainings? Because as a whole, as a collective, globally, and especially for us who are highly sensitive, there is an experience right now of emotional aftershock. As a brief reminder, according to WebMD, emotional aftershocks are common and normal reactions to a traumatic event. According to VeryWellMind.com, emotional aftershocks can come what feels like out of the blue and in a form of a rush of overwhelming emotions that you aren't ready to understand or respond to, which can cause the body to rage, to cry, to disassociate, to shut down. And also, according to VeryWellMind.com, causes of collective emotional aftershock are things such as natural disasters, large groups of sudden death, racism, terrorism, violence. Sound familiar from anything over the last 3 years? Hashtag VibeUp is about being proactive rather than reactive. Please write that down. Hashtag VibeUp is about being proactive rather than reactive. It's not about stuffing your emotions. It's not about pretending that you're not feeling what you're feeling. It's not aiming for perfectionism or holding others to perfectionism, such as, oh, I don't know, highly sensitive leadership training program, mentor, and or coach team. But instead, it's about being proactive rather than reactive, choosing to be the creator of your experience rather than a victim. It's also the opportunity, #VibeUp, to allow for these times to be happening for us, for you, rather than to us, to you. An untrained highly sensitive is going to default to victim. An untrained highly sensitive is going to default to the world is happening to me. How do I protect myself from that? A trained highly sensitive invested in self-employment success or leadership of any kind is going to choose to be the creator of your experience, and is going to choose to be open to seeing how circumstances are happening for you. Now, #VibeUp spiritual. Spiritual, an adjective, relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul, as opposed to material or physical things. And I'll repeat that. Spiritual, an adjective, relating to or affecting the human spirit or soul, as opposed to material or physical things. Now, going back, I would say about 7 years around this time, I had been serving highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders for about 5 years at this point, and I connected with a member from Dr. 𝐂𝐮𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻 team. Now, this is separate from the personal support that I had received from Dr. 𝐂𝐮𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻 when I first discovered that I was highly sensitive. This was about connecting with a member of her team. And believe it or not, I know it's crazy to think of, but at that time, serving highly sensitives in the workplace was like this radical concept. And her team, they were exploring, what does it mean for a highly sensitive to be able to excel in the workplace? I think they did a search. My name came up. They reached out and they wanted to have a conversation. What is it that you've been seeing? What is it that you've been learning? How is it that you are serving and supporting the people that you're coaching? In that conversation, this member of Dr. 𝐂𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻's team, we hit upon the topic of spiritual. I spoke to being spiritual by nature as one of our highly sensitive strengths. This member of Dr. 𝐂𝐿𝐼𝐻's team pushed back and she was like, I don't really see that. It's actually that highly sensitives use spirituality as a way to soothe. And I pushed back on the pushback and said, actually, my experience has shown me, my personal experience is that when I am intentional with the way that I use a spiritual practice, it actually strengthens my connection to my nervous system and allows me to have more access to my nervous system as a strength when I am then suddenly in pressured work business situations. I'd love to say that we resolved in that conversation. We did not. We held our individual stances, and I still hold that stance. So you can look at spiritual as a way to soothe. Oh my gosh, I've had such a bad day. I have to journal. I have to take a bath. I have to pray. I have to go to church for, 5 hours in order to recover. Or you can look at spiritual as nurture, which again is proactive. A reminder to soothe is a verb that means to tranquilize or calm a person or their emotions. It can also mean to relieve, comfort, or refresh. Soothe can be used to mitigate or allay pain, sorrow, or doubt. And nurture is a verb that means to take care of, to feed, to protect, to support, to encourage, or develop someone or something, such as spirituality as a strength. The verb nurture can also mean to cherish a hope, a belief, or ambition. To me, I associate those words with a spiritual practice. Cherish, hope, belief. Soothe is more reactive. Nurture is more proactive. Both are of value. Yet, #VibeUp Spiritual gives us the opportunity to consider spiritual as proactivity versus reactivity, spiritual as expansive versus restrictive. And this gives the opportunity to speak briefly to a phrase that I coined years back now called spiritual sabotage. Spiritual sabotage for the untrained highly sensitive, a highly sensitive who defaults to shadows, is about using spiritual practice as a way to excuse. So you can use spiritual practice to support you with showing up to marketing, showing up to selling, showing up to investing with the intent of expansion for self and others. Or you can use spirituality as an excuse to restrict, pull back from marketing, pull back from selling, pull back from investing. I'm not supposed to market, sell, or invest to support because God told me not to. According to A Course in Miracles, you are not upset for the reason you think. There is only one problem: choosing fear over love. And I'll say that again. According to A Course in Miracles, you are not upset for the reason that you think. There is only one problem: choosing fear over love. Spiritual as proactive, choosing love. Spiritual as expansive, choosing love. Spiritual as reactivity, choosing fear. Spiritual as restrictive, choosing fear. Breath in and let it out. All of this said, I'm going to be bringing us back from roundtables early on this week's training roundtable as an opportunity, a special opportunity to practice #VibeUp Spiritual. With that, I'm going to hand us over to Business Miracles Community Curator and Business Miracles Senior Coach Team Member, Lorna Lang. Lorna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Heather. So today I want to bring forward a phrase we sometimes use in and about the highly sensitive leadership training programs. And that phrase is, be here as a student. And it seems so timely with it being back to school time in so many of our local community areas. So be here as a student, and I recommend you write that down, and that will really help you anchor that for yourself. The reason we say be here as a student is because being here in that way is what will move you the most quickly and easily toward what you want to create by being in this program. So of course, there's a time and place for you to be the expert, to be marketing, to be networking, but that is not within this program. Here, you get to be a student. Yay! So building on what Heather shared about mighty networks in a way, is that Heather consciously designed the program in this way for you to be here as a student so you can fully relax into learning how to master your highly sensitive nervous system and discover balance, and how to show up visibly and vulnerably without perfectionism, and how to transform past unhelpful patterns and just get the help you need and you're asking for by being in the program to create a thriving business and a peaceful life as a high-functioning, proactive, highly sensitive. So again, I'm going to say it again, be here as a student. Let yourself practice here. Support each other as peers, as fellow students or sister students in an aligned community that's here for you to learn and evolve in. And let us, the team, the Business Miracles team, be the experts that we are in supporting highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders. And as part of all of this, we remind you that in the rules and guidelines on the community forum page in your online learning center, where we specifically talk about being here as a student and a peer, you are not obligated or expected to read or like or comment on every member's posts. So take care of your training and personal growth needs first. And then if you're called on and if you have the time, consciously choose a few posts to interact with, and that will support building your sense of community. And we actually really do see that, of course, happening for so many of you, and we hear all the time about the value you experience in this safe, consciously designed program. So I bow to you and I thank you, and I look forward to that continuing for all of you. All right, and from here, I'd like to turn it over to Junior Coach Elma.
Thank you, Lorna. I'm excited to make a connection for you to a training in your HSL program that can support related to what Heather just taught. It's a series of trainings actually called the HSE Selling Success System. When you're ready to start marketing and reaching out in service to your potential clients, these trainings will show you how to connect with the divine or spirit, God, universe, or whatever language you use so that you shift from selling to serving. You'll learn how to help your potential clients connect too, so that they make a decision that is guided. The HSE Selling Success System is a foundational training that you'll find in your marketing leadership track, FNDT 1610, 1611, and 1612, parts 1, 2, and 3. And by the end, you will have a script that has proven to get results for so many members in this community, including myself. Now, each of you is at a different stage in your business, so use your highly sensitive strengths to discern if this training would be helpful for you at this time. Back to you, Heather.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much for that very insightful curating of how to really effectively use the highly sensitive leadership training program, both Coach Lorna and Coach Elma. Much, much appreciated. With that, we're going to go into roundtables for 18 minutes. Roundtables for 18 minutes. Team, when you're ready. All right, beautiful. I think we are all here for this very special roundtable. Let's take a moment, place a hand on your heart, and together let's take a breath in, and let it out. Together again, breath in and let it out. One more time, power of 3, strong, steady breath in and let it out. Just a reminder is that hand on heart, 3 breaths is really all that's needed to begin to shift the nervous system from a place of being activated, potentially a place of being triggered, into a place that starts to access a greater sense of calm. This roundtable is a special roundtable dedicated beautifully as a follow-up to what Coach Elma just shared, which is the Selling Success. We've had Selling Success masterclasses frequently throughout the year utilizing our roundtable time. This is going to be our final Selling Success Masterclass, being replaced by a very special 3-hour selling clinic that's going to take place in the beginning of 2024. You will have the opportunity to opt in to that value add-on Selling Success clinic, no additional tuition charge. So just have your eyes out for when that special invitation comes your way, and you can make the choice if you want to participate in that Selling Success clinic with yours truly. For today and this special roundtable, we're going to make the connection between #VibeUp spiritual and selling. So take a moment and review the notes that you took from today's weekly training. And what do you see in your notes that you can directly, proactively apply to a selling conversation? So take a moment, reflect, make that connection now. Raise your hand when you're ready to, raise your digital hand when you're ready to share the connection that you see. And I'd like to hear from at least 1 to 3 members what you see as a connection from today's training to the selling success process. Beautiful. We are going to use introductions for this special roundtable. So if helpful, take a moment to write this down. You're just going to share 2 aspects of an introduction. You're going to share your name and the level of leadership training program that you're in. So that's HSL, HSL Plus, or HSL Plus Plus. So just your name and your program. This is a challenge, challenging your brain. Don't go rote on me and start giving me your leadership track and where you're zooming in from and the name of your dog and all of that. Just your name and your leadership training program level. Also a reminder, we're going to stay focused. You're going to need to be on video in order for us to have an exchange. If you're off video, we'll wait for you to come on video in order to call on you. And if you're moving all around with your laptop or your iPad, team will probably turn your video off because this is a community experience of highly sensitives, and we're going to support everyone in being as focused as possible. So I'll take a breath in again and let it out. Helene, can you do the introduction and share your connection? Oh, did we lose Helene? She was like there and then she was like gone. You might have lowered your hand instead of unmuted yourself. And give you another.
I did. You
right.
called it.
Yeah.
I'm Helene and I'm HSL. Stop. And this training really connected me with money mindset. So selling goes in with that. And what you shared about A Course in Miracles, there's only one problem: choosing fear over love. And that hiding for me is a spiritual sabotage. So when I'm not showing up and I'm not sharing my gifts because I shouldn't be marketing because the universe should just provide it, that doesn't work. But showing up, stating my value and everything is what the universe wants for me.
Oh my gosh, so gorgeously said. Yes, yes, and yes. As a member of the universe, you're meant to participate in the universe. And for those of us as highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders, that is through your business, marketing and selling. Gorgeous, so well said. Thank you. Laura, introduction and .connect.
Laura Smith, HSL Plus. What came through for me is using spirituality as a way of nurture rather than soothing, because at the QLL retreat, that came through loud and clear to me that in the past I was totally using it as soothing, but really using it as a way to show up and choosing love. And for me, recently, I've been doing a lot of OFTUs and auto writing right before I've been going into selling conversations or networking or whatever I'm doing, as a way to get out of my head and just focus back in and connect before I connect with someone else.
Amazing. Gorgeous. That is a beautiful example of utilizing tools, using hashtag VibeUp spiritual to support really being genuine, authentic, and in your heart as part of a selling conversation versus trying to be someone that you're not and showing up from head brain of shoulds, comparison, etc. Gorgeous. So beautifully said and really well done with the introduction.
Thank you.
Amazing. Awesome. Kay, Lowry, intro and your .connect.
I've got it written down here. K HSL plus plus. The beautiful thing is the .connect here is starts with all the training and all. I've taken every sales course that you have given anywhere you've given it.
So
over
true, you
7
really have.
years. And so I've learned, not only learned the system and done a lot of coming from fear, choosing fear, but evolving to choosing love. And it is a perfect, so sales conversation is a perfect opportunity to choose love, because if I choose love and the other person chooses love, then we have a wonderful 12-month program. And if either one of us chooses fear, it doesn't go so well.
Yeah, so beautifully said. But I also appreciate what you shared regarding if you show up in love and then the prospect shows up in love. And what I want to highlight there is that as a highly sensitive leader, you are meant to lead. You are meant to lead in a selling conversation. You are meant to lead the selling conversation. And your prospect is looking to you to lead. When a highly sensitive shows up in fear, shadows, coping as part of a selling conversation, particularly shadows of people pleasing or shadows of over responsibility, which causes the highly sensitive to try to figure out what the prospect or who the prospect wants them to be, which causes the highly sensitive to discount their services, then you're not leading. And it lowers the probability that the prospect will then be able to access love because you're leading. So if you're going to lead with fear, if you're going to lead with people pleasing, if you're going to lead with over responsibility, where do you think the prospect's going to go? They're going to go to fear. They're going to react to people pleasing, and they're going to activate the over responsibility.
I just want to
Okay.
add there
Yes.
that it was a process. It was a process of learning and getting your training wheels and like, oh, can I do this? And then, I mean, going all the way from start to finish, it's certainly a process. And I'm
Absolutely.
very grateful for the opportunity.
Yes, I'm so glad that you emphasized that, Kay. And Kay really wasn't kidding when she said that she has literally showed up to every single format and way that I've taught the selling success system over the 7 years. Whether it was virtual or in person, or like Kay was there, which says three things. One, as Kay just said, it is a process. 2, it must be really important if Heather keeps teaching it. And it's not just a one and done and only in your online learning center and only relying on what's in the online learning center. And then 3, that by continuing to show up, you are building the muscle, like any muscle over time. So just side note, anyone on the internet, anyone on social telling you that they can teach you how to successfully sell in 30 days or less, warning, warning, warning. Yeah, thank you for that, Kay.
Thank you.
Mandy, intro and .connect.
Mandy, HSL Plus. And I really liked the Brené Brown comment about the assumption of positive intent. So going into the selling conversation with that assumption is easier to access love versus fear.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes, that is a gorgeous .connect, right? And that really requires you as highly sensitive entrepreneur and leader to do your due diligence, right? And to use the energy management tools, right? As Laura shared, or whatever else is going to support you. Otherwise, then most highly sensitives enter into a selling conversation the way most highly sensitive, let's say untrained highly sensitives, enter into most relationships. And that is prepared to protect themselves from being hurt and triggered the way they experienced in their past. Assumption of positive intent is the exact opposite, and it is a leader quality. Beautiful, man. Vicki, introduction and .connect.
Sorry, all of a sudden I couldn't find my buttons. Vicki Garrett, HSL, and I think the connection I made has probably kind of already been said, but I underline like that things happen for me rather than to me, and then love over fear. So I'm thinking of like the love over fear is serving over selling. And the thing that came out to me too is just, when it comes to spirituality and finding the right fit for a client, is that if for some reason it's not a fit, that's part of where I lean on my spirituality, that's happening for me, not to me. So it's not something personal.
Yeah, beautiful. You've got some really key points that you've highlighted. Selling versus serving. So this is where we really dive into service versus servitude and that distinction. So servitude is going to lean more towards shadows and spiritual sabotage, meaning, I'm not really going to fully show up to support this person through the decision-making process and what it takes to actually do that. And then also when a prospect is not a fit. And what's really key about that when it comes to #VibeUp spiritual is that in order to determine if a prospect truly is or isn't a fit, you really are required to dig into the selling success system and process. And if you really do dig in and you're really covering every single aspect, then you know for sure. If you really go through that due diligence of that process with another person, and at the end they come to, it's just not a fit, then we know. And then it is easier to realize this is for me, not to me, because I really showed up and I did my part. And I emphasize that only because, again, I've been doing this work for a long time. So I've seen many HSEs over the years. It's like, oh, it wasn't a fit. So, I'm not attached and now I have no clients and no money. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, did we really dig in? Did you really work your part of the connection and of the process? And that's the opportunity. Thank you. Stephanie, intro and last share in under 2 minutes.
Stephanie, HSL++. What really stood out was setting prices can be a spiritual experience and a practice to continue to choose love in my pricing. And it can be as simple as stating I choose love in my pricing before I get on the phone call. And also I could add auto writing. How does my heart want me to share my value today, to tap in before I get on a call?
Amazing. Gorgeous. Awesome. Thank you so much for both of those. Let's take a moment, place a hand on your heart. Together, let's take a breath in and let it out. There's been so much goodness shared. You might want to return to the recording of this round. Taking a moment, connecting in, what are you taking away from this training roundtable? And most importantly, how will you use it?